Welcome, everyone, to episode 99 of the Enough to Keep Going podcast. This is part 2 of the June Gamer Experience Show. We're past E3, things are settling down, and I am back in my E2KG routine, which is a very welcome development personally. I'm joined by two of my friends, DBQ Hams. How are you, DB?
99. I can't believe we got here. We're going to get to 100 before we restart the show again. So,
You're not, that's a little bit cynical.
yeah, well, that's fair, right? Okay, for all of you listeners, we have restarted the naming conventions and the numbering conventions a number of times over the last 4 years of of multiple iterations on the E2KG network. So yes, I'm excited that we might actually get to 3 digits, and to do it with you gentlemen is really a pleasure. So thank you.
All right. We're also joined by Osiris Prime.
Hello, everyone. I'll play the role of Agasicles and do the social media tonight, so I'll be typing away here in a minute.
All right. Unfortunately, well, or fortunately, I guess, because we had a lot to cover when we did E3. We did 2 episodes last week, so we really didn't have a picks plays during that. We're all focused on watching live streams and catching up on all the news coming out of California. So we're going to skip the picks plays assignment and get right into our GX playlist chatter. Since Osiris Prime is working social media, we're going to start with DB. And how about Forza Horizon 4 Lego on Xbox One?
Yeah, so it's fun to talk about because it is a fun experience. So this was announced at the speaking of E3, right? This is a nice segue that it was announced at the Microsoft Showcase, the press conference on last Sunday evening, and it was dropped then on last Friday. So Friday the 13th, is that right? Is that what Friday was? Can't be Friday the 13th. That's crazy. It was Friday the 14th. There we go. So it came out on the 13th, right at the end of E3. Picked it up. I've had a chance to play around with it. Played it over the course of the weekend. And my son and I actually played it tonight. I think, so one, it's like $18, $19. You know, if you have Game Pass or you picked up Game Pass Ultimate, over the course of E3, Forza Horizon comes included on that. And I put a lot of time into Forza Horizon 4 last fall and then kind of forgot about it in the middle of all the holiday rush. Coming back to it, I remember how much fun it is just to kind of cruise around. It's a beautiful looking game in 4K. And throwing in the Lego piece of it is just puts a kitty smile on my face. So it's still unlike the Hot Wheels collection for Forza Horizon 3, where it kind of throws you into this Hot Wheels island and you're driving on all kinds of cool loop-de-loops and side tracks and jumps and shooting through fire hoops and across dinosaurs and all kinds of Hot Wheels related types of stuff. This pretty much just puts you back into the Forza Horizon 4 world, but Legofies everything. So everything has got bricks. All the trees are kind of the classic brick pieces. If you drive through a flower patch, all your little plastic flower petals fly off and the stems go one way and the flowers go the other way. Right? If you've ever played with Legos, it's a super fun experience because it really is. It's just like a big Lego open world game to drive around in and to crash into stuff. You know, unfortunately, as my son found out, you can't crash into the houses and have them break apart, just like in the regular Forza Horizon. That you can break through gates and knock down some small trees, but you can't knock into big trees or big structures. So there are the similar races. There are some point to points. There are some stunt ones. There are some fun little jumps. It feels a lot of fun. It is a little a little tamer than Horizon 3 with the Lego loop-de-loops. I mean, with the Hot Wheels loop-de-loops. But it also is. It's almost like a total conversion mod, right? I mean, it skins the entire world, at least this little section of it, because you can, as I found out, you can drive out of the world into the normal looking world with your Lego car, or you can drive your normal looking car into the little Lego world. So it's a little section on the map. And but again, you know, I'm glad I paid $18 for it. You know, it is. There's a lot of content there. There's a lot of races. There's a number of nodes on the map. And if you're a Game Pass player who gets Forza Horizon 4 for free, this is a great add-on to sit down and play around with your kids. We did a pass the controller with my sons, and it was a lot of fun. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was wondering. So, is there any like Lego construction aspects to the game?
So there is. You can construct your house. So as you win races or earn credits, you can construct your house. You start with classically a little green base plate and can build your house up around it, right? Just like in Horizon 4, you have a chateau you can unlock or own different chateaus, and that's your base that you start from. Your garage is there. You can get different cars. So yeah, you can. There is some customization there, but it's not necessarily. Oh, you're not throwing up structures along the way. Like you're not building bridges to make a jump off of, or designing different tracks. At least I haven't got to that point. If there is, you know, maybe. But from what I've seen, from what I've read, it is mainly there's a number of Lego related races and events, and then there's the construction around your house.
Prime, did you have any questions or thoughts for DB on this one, or do you want to jump to Dauntless, another recent Xbox game?
Yeah, no, I think he pretty much answered all the questions I had as far as like customization and building stuff and everything like that. And I think you might have mentioned this. I was doing social media stuff, but you can do like regular cars on Lego tracks and vice versa, right?
Yeah, yep. I was in a Lego race with a handful of other normal-looking cars. And I was also out in the normal world with the Lego car, and
that was my next question. If you could take those
cars. It's a nice little touch. Like I could take the car out there. I hit a hill and got some air and kind of flipped over with my car, and my little Lego car had like some headlights or some fog lights up on top of the car, and it skimmed the bottom and the fog lights popped off like little Lego bricks, and my car kept going. So I mean, they've given a lot of care to it. So if you like Lego and you've enjoyed some of the Forza Horizon, it's well worth it. But it's still Forza Horizon 4, so it's still that type of physics and everything else with it as well.
Yes. And this was paid, right? This was paid.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So this was $20, $18 if you had Game Pass. So for anybody that got on the Game Pass Ultimate bandwagon or the $1 conversion rate, it's a lot of game there to dive into.
Okay, so it is part of the Game Pass if you have it.
No, it's not. No,
it's not. Oh, okay.
I mean, Forza Horizon 4 is. So,
okay.
So this was, for me, this was an easy purchase. Like, I didn't pay for Forza Horizon 4 because of Game Pass. Yeah. So I feel pretty comfortable giving the developers, $18 for this, considering I'm enjoying the rest of the game as well.
Nice. Cool.
So, did you get a chance to play Dauntless, or did you just boot it up and get through the tutorial?
Yeah, so I pretty much just got through the tutorial. I did a fair share of maybe like 15 minutes or so on the customization, which is pretty robust. It doesn't go as granular as say like a Skyrim or Elder Scrolls or something like that, where they have all the sliders for everything. They have some sliders for certain things like eye space and up and down and stuff like that, but you can't go like totally deep into it, but it's pretty cool. So created my character, went through the first little story mission. They have like a little, movie at the beginning, kind of set up the world. Got through the first tutorial stage, which really didn't take me maybe like 5 minutes or so. I beat up on a couple of beasts. This is kind of like what I think is, because I haven't really, it's been a while since I actually got down and played a lot of Monster Hunter, but I believe like a Monster Hunter type of game where you just beat up beasts and then you grab their stuff and you craft items and stuff like that. So, and it's free to play, so it's you can go ahead and download it anytime on Xbox, at least. I'm assuming PC and PS4, not sure. And I know it's coming to Switch at some point. Was there a release date for the Switch?
No, there wasn't a release date. But yeah, it's free to play on every place else. And from what I heard from E3, they're still optimizing it for the Switch at this point.
Okay. So I met up a couple of like little minions that I beat up pretty quickly, and then got to like a bigger beast, not super huge, just like elephant size compared to me, or compared to my character, not me personally. So beat that up. That probably took the longest. It actually took me quite a while to beat the boss or mini boss, whatever it was. So then I got to the town, and I was kind of running around there for a little bit. But then that's pretty much where I stopped. I think I stopped right where I would have got my next mission, my next hunt, I guess they're calling them. But I got a real Phantasy Star vibe out of it for some reason. Not so much from like Monster Hunter when I used to play it, when I played it in the past. It might be more because of the graphics are kind of cartoony. They kind of, some people compare it to like Fortnite. It kind of looks like more like Sea of Thieves-ish, which is kind of similar, but there's definitely a different style there between the two. But I had a Sea of Thieves kind of vibe from the character, mostly the faces and stuff. Kind of the body, maybe not so much, but for some reason, just the face of like reminded me of Sea of Thieves a lot. So, I mentioned this in the chat when I was chatting about it. Solo play, I'm not really sure if I'd go back and play it just solo. And this really seems more of a co-op game with 2, 3, 4 buddies. I'm not sure how big the parties get. I don't know if you know DB or Swiss. I'm assuming probably 4 at the max, I would think. But yeah, so if I get some, a few friends, and I think Gaskley said he might pick it up at one point. Well, it's free to play, so whenever we might jump in on it. So I definitely want to try to play with a group of people, especially that I know, not just randoms, because it seems like more fun. And like I said, the Phantasy Star aspect that's where one of the reasons I started playing Phantasy Star way back on the Dreamcast is because I had a couple friends, 3 friends that I was able to jump in there with and mess around and beat these beasts and do all that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to play more of it, but hopefully more co-op. Hopefully,
it's 4 players. It looks like.
Okay.
And the Switch will be late 2019. So playing by yourself, is it just boring? I mean, or do you just is the feedback loop not there for this type of game, and you need just the hanging out aspect of playing with your friends to make it an enjoyable experience?
If I had the time, I wouldn't mind going at it myself, but I just don't have the time to do a game like this right now. Like if I had some friends with me, I mean, I'm assuming the beasts probably scale up when you have more than one person, so they'll be just as hard, I would think. I would hope, because you don't want to just like whack it a few times and then, okay, it's done. But yeah, I mean, I just don't have the time to put into a game like this just solo. I have, a whole bunch of other games I'd like to get to. So that's pretty much that.
The free-to-play aspects of it, how does it look like from your perspective that they're really trying to monetize it? Did you feel limited in any way?
I haven't got that far to even comment on that yet. I'm probably assuming you'd probably be able to get, I don't want to say fairly beefed up, but get. I'm assuming it would go like you go up a few levels or however they track your progress, and then you probably would hit a wall at some point where you'd probably have to grind a lot. So, and that's what I'm kind of afraid of if I'm playing solo, because it's going to be harder. Obviously, it's going to take me a lot longer. So yeah, I haven't had as much experience with it to really say either way. So, but just as a theory, I'm just thinking that's how it's probably going to be. So
do they do matchmaking, or is it I mean, is there any way to group up randomly with people, or is it kind of like Monster Hunter, where you are kind of, Monster Hunter, you can put a call out for somebody to come in. Does it do something like that?
Yeah, I don't know because, like I said, I think I would have gone on my first mission right before I turned it off the other night, or last night when I was playing. So I'm not sure. I can't say. So hopefully next 2 weeks, I guess, a couple weeks, I'll be able to speak a little bit more on it, try to play a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to that. It feels like these, the free to play stuff is really starting to gain a lot more traction in like the more classic PC and console area. Because for a long time, it was just, oh, that's just like a mobile game, and you dismiss it. But the big players, are definitely trying to invest in revenue streams like this. So
yeah, and I see a lot of people, my friends list, playing it. So I mean, there's got to be some kind of hook that's in it for these, for the game. So
I think my brother-in-law said he downloaded it, but he was ashamed that he had to do it through the Epic Store. So
I think it's cross-platform too, maybe, if I'm mistaken. I believe so. I mean, we could all play together potentially.
It's one of the first cross-platform at launch, right?
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
it got some credit for that as being
including PS4.
Exactly.
Oh, there we go. See,
So,
play Swiss. Well, you got a PC too, so
yeah, I'm starting to play my PS4 less and less.
Oh yeah,
but, becoming kind of a PC snob. But
we'll break that.
Speaking of being a PC snob, I played over the last few days Journey on the PC. So this actually was like the PS3 game from that game company, and I guess they remastered it for PS4. They announced that it was coming to PC, and it's an Epic Game Store exclusive. So this is actually, even though I've claimed a few of the free games that the Epic Store has been putting out there every 2 weeks, this is the first time I've actually installed a game and played it. So I could talk a little bit about the Epic Store, I think, before I actually get into the game itself. But the game just released like a week ago, I think, right around E3. So the Epic Store is Spartan. Like the library page is literally, I got like artwork for the games and a link to download if I haven't installed it, or a link to launch the game. I feel like, I don't know if Steam is more cluttered or Steam is providing more information, but I feel like Steam is more of a tool, and the Epic Store right now is just kind of perfunctory. I don't know. But
yeah, I struggled to discover anything, right? Like if I knew what I was looking for, I could do a search, but the discovery on a certain genre or something like that didn't really feel very intuitive to get to.
It felt like you're just scrolling. It's like the infinite scroll, right?
Yep.
So yeah,
it's kind of like the
and
eShop
then
where it's just like, I don't even know if you can do any kind of sort or anything on the Epic Store that I know of. So it's just like a big thing of games there that you gotta look through. So
yeah, I feel like they really wanted to get ahead of it, and they got out like minimum viable product, and we'll see if they like iterate. I hope they do, because
I mean, it's been like that since the beginning. So I mean, you would have figured they would try to do something by now, but
yeah.
I don't know.
It feels like Steam, like as much as bad of a rap as Steam gets, I still prefer to game there. But as far as the actual game that I played, I was eager to play this. There's like I saw recently a blog commenting on games as art, and they referenced Journey again. So I was like, okay, it's finally time to try this one out, because if you recall, like Epic had that little fiasco where they're like, "Hey, let's do $10 off every game that's 14.99 or more," and that caught some of the publishers by surprise. So they were removing the games from the store until the sale was over. Well, Journey was not removed, so I got it's normally $14.99, so I got it for $4.99. Okay, $5 I can invest in that. And after playing the game, I was glad I didn't spend $14.99 on it, to be honest. I I don't know if I was expecting. I'm there's like 7 chapters. I'm through 5 chapters. So I don't know if there's like a big payoff at the end, but initially I was expecting more of like an eco or an ico experience, like that the old school PS2 game that I still love. And it kind of is that, but watered down to the point where the puzzles aren't really even puzzly. It's if it's more of an art experience, perhaps I just don't appreciate that as much. The game is certainly pretty. I have it cranked up to 4K on my PC here, and the sand looks good. It's nice, but I just felt like it's very. I was surprised at how small, like limited it feels.
Yeah,
I did.
I could see that. I mean, it's sorry to interrupt, right? I mean, it is. It, I don't know that anybody would say it has great gameplay. That it's the experience of the art installation more than it is the mechanics of it.
Mm-hmm. And that's probably where I was I had a poor mindset going in, because even like though the mechanics are simple, I could appreciate the art, but I felt like it would even tell more of a story than it has. It's a little bit like it's just, I don't want to say it's too artsy, but it's very subtle in a way. It's uh serene, very serene. So it's I can stand like kind of an artsy experience, but I expected more of like I don't know, more story elements or something to explore. And I've noticed like there are little glowy things that you can collect, and as you enter the chapter, it kind of tells you how many of the glowy things for that chapter you were able to find. And I'm sure there's other stuff you can search for. But that's a limited carrot right now. The only reason why I'm kind of keeping going, it's intriguing enough for me, and it's like, well, it's only 7 chapters, I might as well finish it. So all in all, I think I was a little disappointed. You've beaten it, right, DB? You've played it?
Oh yeah, I played it on PS3 back shortly after it came out, and so yeah, I mean that idea of experiencing it with. So when you play it, did you encounter other people? I mean, are there enough people playing it at this stage? Like when I played it back in Jeepers, 2015, maybe. There were other people, like you could wander through and encounter other people and kind of journey together without exchanging a whole lot of information.
Right.
Is that experience
I
still
am
existing, or is this a product of its time?
I am
Where
going to answer that question with another question. There are other people in Journey?
there we go. Okay, so right, I mean, this is where I do wonder if it's the and this isn't to say that you're wrong. It's to question whether the experience is a product of the time that you experience it, right? Like if you experience Journey at a time when before people have hyped up to be this end all be all in terms of games as art, right? If you experience it within the first 6 months when there's a lot of people playing and you don't have these kind of built up expectations. I could totally see where if you're coming in with thinking like this is going to be a life changer, and I actually just listened to Rebel FM, that one of the hosts there was talking about this a couple weeks ago, that they came to Journey late, and it was fine, but it wasn't the amazing transcendental experience that they were hyped that it could be, right? Like how
Yeah.
much does the hype train end up hurting a game because it blows it beyond kind of the bounds of what the game is trying to do?
Yeah. I completely get that. And I think there might have been one case early on when I saw one other player, but it happened quick and they came near me and then they wandered off and then they were gone. And I was almost like, I guess, are there like CPU things in the game or something? And then I thought, well, I thought I might have remembered something about there being other players, but I have seen nothing else since. So, yeah. And as far as like the hype buildup, they're re-releasing it for a reason. You would think that, I don't know, that I just maybe don't appreciate it as well. It's good for what it is, but like you said, I was expecting I think my expectations were too high. But for $4.99, I've already made my money back.
So it's real time in the multiplayer DB? I always thought it was like things in the world were, I don't know, like moved, or it was like something, or I don't know, you could leave messages or something like that. Unless I'm thinking something else.
So it's more or less real time. You don't have any. You can do like kind of like articulations or some kind of sounds, but you don't have any like actual chat or communication. But yes, you could be journeying through the game, or people. I mean, the idea behind it was that people would come in and out of your journey as you were going forward, and that you wouldn't necessarily play the whole game with somebody, but that they would end up kind of walking along with you during part of it, which can happen if there's a player base. But at the same time, if there's not, you lose that component of it.
So I was literally playing like 5 minutes until 5 minutes before we went on the air. So it's not like I'm playing at 6 a.m. or 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here. So if that's the case, it's another strike against the Epic Store. One other little thing, and then we'll move on. But I beat a level, and it did a little cutscene. Oh, okay, and then it kind of will do like the mural previewing the next chapter. And at that point, I thought, all right, I'm there. I got to get off so I can go do E2KG. And so I exited. And then I remembered, I'm like, this game really doesn't give you any indication that it's saving or anything. And I went back in and I was at the start of the level again. I thought, crud, well, I just wasted that. But I knew where the little thingies were, and I went through the chapter in like 5 minutes and then joined you guys. So there's like definitely an experience level there, but I think there's not going to be much. And I don't think they're promising it either of replayability. It kind of does its thing and moves on. But all right, that's enough journey. I think maybe in 2 weeks I'll have had it done and I can give a final thought. But DB, you played another game that was announced at E3, right?
That's correct. Yes, I played some Devolver Bootleg. So during the Devolver Digital showcase, or whatever the little prepackaged video was, which is an interesting kind of narrative piece because it's the same story for the last 3 years, or at least it continues the story. So this was Devolver Bootleg. So they were making fun of themselves of kind of creating bootleg versions of their own games before somebody else could. So it's out on Steam. It was $5 for a series of like 6 games, maybe. So you had, so you get, let's see here. You have Castlevania, which is the cat robot game that's out on Switch right now. And then you have Hotline Milwaukee, rather than Hotline Miami. You have Ape Out Junior rather than Ape Out. You have Luftreises, which is the flying kind of Sopwith game, kind of World War II ish. That has a different spin on it, more not as fluid, a little more 8-bit. I mean, the whole conceit of this, even the sound effects, are somewhere in between kind of Atari 2600 and an NES. And so, like playing the Castlevania game, you start off, you're a cat, you get into a knight suit, and if you get hit once, your knight suit falls off, and you're a cat in kind of a human body with underwear, kind of like Ghosts and Goblins. If you get hit and you die, then you go to a black outline, a shadow of the cat with like a flashing red screen, almost like exactly like what is it? Zelda 2, right? Adventure of Link, where if you die there, you get the Ganon screen of the red and Ganon's laughter as Link, the silhouette of Link kind of dies. So so there are some very, very significant and deliberate homages there. The Lufthansa game plays out kind of like a Defender almost with World War II. And then there's a couple others. The Ape Out game. So Ape Out. I've also played Ape Out on Switch. Ape Out is another Devolver Digital game that was up on sale. And it is kind of this jazzy, very stylistic kind of action game where you are an ape escaping and you're slamming into the humans that are trying to catch you or shoot you, and you get you only have a couple shots before you die, and you're kind of making your way through this puzzle piece. So that's the Ape Out, the actual game. Ape Out Junior, the levels are laid out just like Donkey Kong Jr. You start off and you're in this kind of, you see the whole screen. You've got chains to climb up and make your way around. It even makes a climbing sound as you climb up. How was that, Prime? Was that pretty good? And then, but it's got the same mechanics of you got to slam into the humans before they shoot you, or you can carry a human and it can take the bullet for the next human that shoots at you. So it takes some of those same gameplay elements and plays with them, kind of devolves them, kind of demakes them down. Hotline Milwaukee, which I think is just kind of fun, being from the Midwest and having versus Hotline Miami, it still plays out like Hotline Miami, except kind of what would feel like NES graphics. You're still kind of in this top-down mode. You are attacking people. You can only take one shot. You've got a number of weapons. It really plays well, but plays like somebody made Hotline Miami back in 1990. So for $5, there's a lot of games here. There's a couple other games. There was kind of this Pikuniku game that came out for Switch, where you were this kind of like jelly globulus with legs, and you were kind of jumping around in a very cartoony looking space. There's a 2-player one which basically plays out like volleyball as you bounce, or pong as you bounce a ball back and forth and get scored. So it's a kind of fun way to play around with some of their franchises, and to give you, for a certain type of gamer, it's super fun because the graphics scratch this kind of NES niche for me. The sound effects, even the menu sound effects feel like I'm moving my way through an Atari 2600. So there's some fun to it. I don't know that it's all, for $5, it's not like it's a huge amount of game. I think the games that seem to have the most lasting are probably Hotline Milwaukee and Ape Out Junior. Seem to be something that I've sunk the most time into. I've got a couple hours over the course of a number of days with the whole set. But again, it's kind of a fun little nod that Devolver did it itself during E3. So it's still out on Steam, I think, up until maybe tomorrow or sometime this week is, well, how about this? This is the goofiness of Devolver. It is 1% off until June 19th. And otherwise it is $5. So if you miss the 1% sale, chances are you can still pick it up for $5. So it's kind of right. It's just kind of a goofy, tongue-in-cheek kind of fun, but it's something I got a lot more enjoyment out of than I thought I would.
That's good. That's good. I mean, you didn't feel like you got ripped off. So, what did you say prompted you to go out and play it and purchase it?
So I'd watched the Devolver Digital showcase, their E3 little Nintendo Direct like video, which broadcast on Sunday night, or at least they released it out on YouTube on Sunday night. And it was part of what they announced there, right? They announced some kind of cool games like Carry On, where you play as the monster attacking in a horror survival game. But then they also announced this as one of their games. So,
And you
yeah.
picked it up right then?
I looked at it and kind of sat on it for a couple of days until I had more time, and then picked it up probably, I think, around the same time as one of our shows last week.
All right, cool. So that was on PC. It's on Steam. I don't think is it on Epic Store? Do you know? Not that anybody probably cares.
No, I think it's just on Steam. And so the cat game, the Castlevania game, is Gato Roboto. And it's on Switch. It's been on Switch. It was on their sale. It's kind of a Metroidvania, but kind of Game Boy like graphics. So yeah, it's on Steam right now. It is as of right now, it's only on Steam.
All right. Let's keep going with PC games, because it's very rare that Osiris Prime reports out on a PC game. So, and he's got not one but 2 PC games that he played.
That's right, gentlemen. The end is nigh. I'm playing on PC, or at least for a little bit. So when the Ultimate Game Pass came out, I bought that, or I had that, and then they announced the PC portion of it, where they kind of had I think for the most part, there's some games that are coming on the PC side. I don't know if they're on the Xbox side also or not, but I picked up a couple. The first, and these two, I kind of like Dauntless. I kind of just played like the first level or so or two. So the first one is Surviving Mars, which is a Mars survival game. Basically, you land on Mars and you got to build up a base and a colony. I'm assuming eventually at some point, but I barely just scratched the surface of that one. Kind of, I guess, like isometric kind of a view. I'm trying to think of a game maybe that I can compare it to, but I can't think of anything right now. But I guess like Civilization, I suppose, which is the game I'll be talking about here in a few minutes. So kind of that view, and then you just kind of build off and start trying to survive on Mars. I'm assuming that. Like I said, I just got to the very not even through the whole tutorial part of it. So I just scratched the surface on that one. It's running well. I'm playing it on a kind of a smaller. It's an XPS, but it's like a smaller form factor laptop. It's running fine on that. I mean, it's nothing super graphic intensive. At least not right now. I'm assuming once I build up my base and if I'm assuming I'm in a city or whatever or colony, hopefully it'll play fine. So playing that. Once again, hopefully these two I'll have a lot more to talk about the next GX show. And then the second one is The Messenger, which is kind of like a Ninja Gaiden type of a game. You're this ninja. You start off with this ninja. There's like this whole story at the beginning. Very, I guess 8-bit, maybe 16-bit graphic style. Once again, I'm at the very beginning of that one too. I just kind of got through the beginning story. You kind of have to. I guess it's kind of like a ninja school you start off at, and you're sitting there with your master, your sensei, and something happens, and that's where the adventure pretty much starts off. You kind of do a little bit of a tutorial where you can kind of run around and hit like these little dummy things that they have around the screen. And it's just like a right and left, old school side scroller. So it plays pretty good. I mean, I didn't have any problems. I was just playing on the keyboard and basically just a keyboard. I wasn't even using a mouse, so very simple games that I can just jump on and play. But I want to dive a little bit deeper into the game store, the Xbox Pass there, PC Pass. And see what other type of games I can play, and it'll probably be the smaller games just because I don't have anything super powerful right now. Might be getting a new PC though, because this one is been having some issues with lately. So that might change in the future, where I can jump up and get something a little bit beefier and play like Destiny 2 and all these other games that are most of these other guys play. But maybe I can start playing with you guys on PC at some point. But yeah, for right now. Of course, when Stadia comes out, I might not need a powerful PC. But yeah, for right now, I just those two. I don't know if either of you have played or tried these games. I know I think Surviving Mars just came out within the last few weeks, if I'm not mistaken, at least on the Xbox PC side.
I think it's been out for a little while. I have the Messenger on Switch, and so I was curious to hear you play it on keyboard, because it definitely feels like it's a good controller-based game. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's tight controls. There are some kind of cool homages to kind of the Ninja Gaiden in there. But as you're talking about this, I'm going back through and looking at the Game Pass games on PC. There's a ton of really good stuff, right? Wander Song, War Groove. There is Gardens in Between. West of Loathing, Valkyria Chronicles. The Void Bastards game that I talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I was looking at that one.
Switch, which is kind of like it's in that kind of Chrono Trigger type of art style. There's
Wolfenstein, the new Colossus is on there. I think I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking on Steam at as you were talking. So Surviving Mars strikes me as SimCity-esque.
Yeah.
But it came out 2018, March of 2018.
Oh, okay.
So, but the good thing is the Messenger is $20 on Steam, and Surviving Mars is actually currently $30 on Steam, and that's without all the extra stuff. So, guess that so far you made out pretty well with your Xbox PC. Whatever it is, pass.
There was a third game that I downloaded, but I deleted it because I can't remember what it was right now. I have to go through and look, but it was another just a smaller game like that. I just couldn't get into it.
So we have been doing a little bit of PC storefront talk, and given the heavily PC centric nature of this episode, which is ironic because Agasicles is not on it.
Surprisingly. I told you I was taking over for him.
How is the Xbox? I keep wanting to say Xbox Pass experience.
Yeah,
how is the Xbox PC Game Pass experience, the storefront experience and the launching of the games and whatnot?
Well, it's pretty much similar to if you're on Xbox and looking at the store there, or even online using their apps and stuff. So they kind of break it down into different categories, or you can just go into, hey, here's all the games, just flip through them. So at least they have the category thing where they kind of break it out. So yeah, I'm familiar with it, so I'll say that. So it seems pretty easy to me, at least.
And the same with your library.
Yeah, your library would just show up there. So yeah. It's kind of, that's a little different because on the PC, I guess that's a little bit more minimalist. So on there's a black bar on the side where basically your games show up on the side right there instead of just going to a section. So I guess that's kind of neat. You can just go flip through it. If you want to launch something really quick, you just click on it and there you go. You open it up. So I'm assuming though once that they're gonna have to change that once your library starts growing, because then you're just going to have a whole list of things. So I don't know how they'll do that. I'm sure they'll figure it out.
They get Steam level libraries with people. What's the website where it's how long will it take me to play? Or there's something where you it links into Steam, looks at your library and gets the average play time, time to defeat the game for each game, and then it'll be it'll take you 7 years to play your library, and it's oh well, I think I got a little too eager during those summer Steam sales. So I can't even say that, summer Steam sales.
Summer Steam sales. There should be one coming up, huh?
Probably.
I put so far.
I put something from Oh, El Hijo or Hijo or
Oh,
however you pronounce it. Um, but I put it in my Steam library so I know when it comes out, so I know when to go buy it on the Switch, which is probably not something, not what Valve wants to hear, but it's what I'm planning on doing.
yeah. I think there's like 100 games right now on the PC Game Pass. So I'll have to. I didn't get to look through all of them yet, so we'll see what else
That's
I'll,
cool.
I'll pull down. At least I can talk a little PC talk now every once in
All
a while.
right. I want you to play more Surviving Mars because that's, I don't
Yeah,
know where I saw it recently and I was like, ooh, that's the game I want to check out at some point.
yeah. I definitely want to get into that a little bit more, just because I like the space, kind of real feel, game. So
It's rated E10 and up for an alcohol reference.
I'll be really curious to see what you gravitate toward there, Prime, because there's such a. I'm really impressed. There's a lot more there than I thought there was on the PC side. So
yeah, it's some good
when
stuff up there.
you suddenly have this buffet of PC games, where your interest take you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm also looking into doing a second build soon. And if I get an AMD card, which right now I'm tentatively planning on it, I'm still waiting on NVIDIA to release more information on these RTX Super line of cards and see how the dominoes fall with pricing. But if I do get the AMD card, I'm going to get 3 months of this Xbox PC Pass and give that a try. I'm tempted to sign up just because, like you said, DB, there's a lot there, but it's hard enough for me to play the backlog of the games that I own. So I've kind of hesitated. All right, let's move on, shall we? We guys got time for one more game before we wrap up. Unless you had, I'll cede my time if you guys had anything else you wanted to talk about in depth.
No, go for it. We've got time. Right, this feels like such a fast show after having like marathon 2 hour
I
shows
know,
for
but
the
we're already
last week.
we're already at like 45,
I
50
know
minutes.
we're cruising through it. So go ahead, Swiss, take us
All right,
home.
Ace Combat 7. This was a game that last year's E3 I saw it for the first time and made the decision to buy it then because I was a big fan of the Ace Combat franchise, although I haven't played the last couple of iterations of it. Um, so I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. I had planned to get it on PS4, but I decided I wanted to see it on PC with the 4K in 4K because I don't have a 4K TV, but I have a 4K monitor. So I did get it on Steam. There was a Steam sale a couple months back, so I was able to pick it up for like 33% off, which is good. And hadn't played it. Took my PC to work 2 weeks ago so I could download it because I needed that internet connection to do so, and finally got to it. Short answer is I hyped myself up, I think, a little too much. I have a little bit of a nostalgia kick for when I played, I think, like Ace Combat 4, Skies Unknown, I think it was. Was that Skies Unknown? Or is, yeah, or whatever. No, this one's Skies Unknown. Forget what Ace Combat 4 was. But coming in, it feels like an Ace Combat game. I just remember I have fonder memories of Ace Combat. Like I'm having fun with it. I'm going to keep Shattered Skies. Thank you, Prime. Um, I'm having fun with it, and I'm going to keep playing it. But I'm glad I caught it on a sale and I didn't buy it at full price. I want to buy it because I want to, like you said, for games that you're excited about, you want to support the publishers. But we'll see. It was weird. Like there was this whole cutscene intro, and then like the first 3 missions, you don't even play as the person that was in the cutscene, as far as I can tell. Like I'm just a random guy, I think. I do have a cool call sign, Mage 2. Excited about that. But
Did they put that on the side of your plane?
yeah, man. And they're always like, Mage 2, we need your help. And by the way, like it's or no, they're starting off by like, you're like a rookie and don't get cocky, and there's a lot of cheesy one-liners. So if you're like really like they played up the Top Gun the Top Gun cheese is there. In fact, I just bought myself an F-14, so I can really experience it. But no, it's fun if you like Ace Combat. Um, I think I just had a little bit rose-colored glasses looking back, and it's like, yeah, this is an arcade um, fighting game or arcade air fighting game. So it's it's good. I did go to my local mom and pop used GameStop or game store. It's just like a small chain here, and I got my first ever Xbox controller. So I've been playing on
Nice.
that because I refused to play Ace Combat on a keyboard and mouse. So it's been nice. This thing connected really well right up to Windows 10, obviously, and got Ace Combat's on Steam, but it detected it right away, and I got like, you go to controls, you get the Xbox controller controls, and it was pretty flawless. I didn't have to do any special configuration or anything, which is good. Um, it it's very pretty. There's a visceral enjoyment when like you have a guy dead in your sights and you hit them with a missile, it destroys the plane as you fly right by their wreckage. Um, there's some nice modes that I don't remember having in Ace Combat 4, although they could have been there. For example, I can go back and I can replay any of the missions you've already beaten. So I think they had that before. Um, it's nice. You can go back. You can play the missions with different planes that you've unlocked. They have like a whole tree of unlocking the planes, so it's not like I can just go pick and choose what I want. You start out with the F4, I think, and you're kind of limited to where you can expand from there. So I think my next mission was like a naval mission kind of thing. So I had the F-14, but there's another mode where you can just do free flight and there are no enemies. And I actually let my kids play on that so they can just fly the plane and the younger ones. And I think they took a lot of pleasure in, just nose diving into the ground and watching the plane explode and feeling the rumble on the controller. But they were playing Ace Combat 7 and I'm getting more return on investment. So um, if you like the cheesy one-liners, the game plays well, plays very, very like the Ace Combat that you remember. I'm eager to get farther into the story because right now, quite frankly, I'm confused. It has a very do you know sometimes when you watch an anime and they like try to set the world, but they just like throw stuff out at you, like you're watching a news report from this alternative reality, and it's like, okay, guys, writers, you guys sat and thought about this for months and meticulously planned it out, and when you condense it to me as a news blast in 30 seconds, I don't know what you're talking about because all the countries are made up and everything. Right now, there's a space elevator. Somebody took it over and I'm trying to earn it back. So that's where I'm at. But it's good. Ace Combat fun. Kudos, but just don't like have overly optimistic expectations because it's still just Ace Combat.
So I got a question on the graphic side.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you're in the air and you can see the ground, sometimes like they look good like when you're up like high, but then when you get close, it's like all grainy and like pixelated. Is it like that or no? Is it?
I'm not
Or
going to sit here and
do you
say
get
like
close to the ground
you
even
get,
all that much?
man, yeah, I do my loop de loop and scrape across the trees after I took out a drone. I'm an ace pilot. But uh, going close to the ground, I know what you mean. Like you get to the ground and you're like, wow, I'm looking at like a Super NES texture map,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And no, I didn't get that sense. Like I mean, it's not super detailed, but it quite frankly, it was detailed enough where I wasn't distracted, and it's hard for me to even picture it right now because I was focused on the combat. So they do a good job, real quick, of like easing you into a different kind of some of the forms of combat. You start off with the air-to-air mission. They jump in with their air-to-ground mission, and then you're kind of got the controls pretty down. But yeah, they're good enough on the ground where it wasn't a distraction. It did not capture my attention though. I wasn't strafing the ground and being like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." They're obviously taking some liberties with it, but I will say that the reflections on the sun on the ocean when you're doing those types of missions is nice. And just after the mission, they have like the classic Ace Combat. You can watch yourself go through the mission and seeing your plane from different angles. It looks good. I did my decals on my plane. My Mage 2 decal on my F-14 tail was not as high resolution as I would have hoped. There is a little bit of JPEGization on that, so that's what I will say.
And as far as story, like, do these games, like in the series as a whole now, does it follow like the same group of people per person, or is it kind of like just like a Final Fantasy where it's just like drops you into some random thing?
I'm not familiar enough to know.
Oh,
I
okay.
feel like it's a completely different story, but it could be set in the same continent. I don't really remember. I want to say maybe Eurasia is. No, it's like Oceania and something. Yeah, I don't know. There is a story though. It's like a girl, and she's like flying her plane that she built with her grandfather because her grandfather was like an old war dude, and with his old buddies, and they pass away, but she completes it. And while she's in the air is when like one of the countries attacks the other country, so she gets basically arrested for trespassing. I don't know, not flying when she wasn't supposed to, but they know she's a mech head and like mechanically inclined, and they want her to go fix up some planes for them. But then they jump to the story, and you're a pilot that's fighting in the war, so it hasn't even gone back to her yet. But we'll see. I from what I know, it's like you're apparently part of a squadron of prisoners, and then they force you to fly. So I think she ends up becoming a pilot. But
So is there an anime itch that this is scratching as well, in addition to kind of the fun arcadey flight?
no, because I mean, I like some anime, but it's cheesy. I mean, like I can't do super cheesy stuff. So,
Does it have
Dragon Ball Z is like my limit.
does it have like the anime cutscenes, or just is it like in engine?
No, it's in engine stuff.
Okay.
So like I said, I was having trouble following it along, and they do the whole thing with like like what movies do, where they show an interface and they're like, okay, so you see the battlefield, or kind of like a computer rendition of the battlefield and where the enemies are, and it's like the tactical, and it's like nobody in real life would design a UI that way because it's busy, and they have all this stuff scrolling down the side, like look, computer calculations are happening, it's high tech, but like in real life they're not. You can't read it, so it's not useful from like actual user interface perspective. Little things like that I notice, but yeah, it's like your popcorn flick, summer blockbustery type story that you gotta turn your brain off. But when you turn your brain off, you can have some fun with the Top Gun stuff. It reminds me of like how like the original Independence Day, July 4th, 1996, right? When the aliens came. That movie hasn't aged well if you've watched that recently. It feels like that to me.
Okay, I can get behind that. Independence Day, the cheesy schlock of it all. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if you like those arcade type like fighter games, and like I don't even know what it is. Like, what's the genre? Flight. It's not a flight simulator.
Flight
It's
combat,
flight arcade.
Yeah,
Yeah, flight combat, arcade flight. Yeah.
It's a solid entry. Solid B. So
that's the first one in this generation, Ace Combat.
yes, I don't believe there's another. Well, no, I'm not sure. There was one that everybody like panned, I think.
Yeah, 7 is the first one this generation because it just came out in January, because it also had a PSVR component to it.
Oh.
Ace Combat 6 hasn't been out since 2007.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. This is another issue. situation where I'm feeling old because on the one hand it's a long time ago, but on the other hand it's not a long time ago for me. So 12 years. It doesn't feel like it's been 12 years since I played Ace Combat, and it's been before that. So, but anyway, does anybody have any other games that they wanted to touch on?
I had a quick question for DB on his couple of PSVR games. Just if he has a quick blurb on how they work.
Yeah. No,
because I've been going through and watching, I guess, Cleese and our old co-host Gray doing their VR podcast. So I'm kind of getting into VR now. I'm just wondering how they play.
Yeah, no, I was hoping to get on that show eventually here, but I did have a chance to play a little bit of Blood and Truth and Trevor Saves the Universe. Blood and Truth is a lot of fun, right? If you like going back to cheesy arcade action, right? If you enjoy an 80s movie kind of arcade, kind of over the top action, it's super fun, right? The gunplay is fine, but it almost plays out kind of like a Time Crisis. But there are moments when you're jumping off of buildings or shooting through, jumping through glass. There's a lot there that makes it feel a lot more immersive, and it's fun. Trevor Sees the Universe. If you enjoy Justin Roiland and that humor, if you've enjoyed a Rick and Morty episode, it works as an entertainment experience. As a game, it's a game that could be played in and out of VR. I don't know that it would be very good outside of VR, but again, it would be fine outside of VR if you're just going for it for the humor. If you're kind of playing through it in this kind of episode as an entertainment value rather than going back to the game mechanics conversation. Mechanics are relatively simple, but the humor is spot on for that type of humor.
Okay, so is Trover? Is it more of more like an adventure game, or is it a
platformer? Yeah,
okay.
It's a platformer. It's an action platformer, but the conceit is that you're controlling the character, but you're also a character in the game, kind of viewing it from the background. You're confined to your chair, and so there's only a certain amount of, in some ways, if it would have detached that conceit and just allowed you to be Trover and move throughout the universe, it probably would have been a better platformer. But the nature of it allows for some narrative pieces that play out in a very humorous way.
Okay, cool.
Cool. All right. I think we're about at an hour, so let's wrap this up. Next Picks Plays assignment. We have more homework. I think was this UDB or was this Agascles? Okay, Agascles, with the recently dropped release date for Ancestors: The Humankind Odyssey, which is August 27th this year, on PC. Let's play something historical that celebrates mankind's past. Prime, what did you select?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so I mentioned this earlier. So Civilization 6, I'll be playing that on the Switch, because that's the only thing I have it on. Obviously, you can pick different, countries and civilizations, obviously, for the past. So I had started one with, I think it was South American or Mexico or something like that. So I'm going to continue playing that. It gives me a reason, not that I need a reason, but it gives me a reason to jump back into that and get more gameplay into that game.
All right, DB, share with us your selection. Did you do like History of Mankind and History of Gaming?
Yeah, I do a little bit, right? Because Populous, the PC game. This is what's his name? From Black and White and
Peter
from
Molyneux.
Peter Molyneux. Yep, Peter Molyneux.
Molyneux.
There we go. See, we got it eventually. So yes, Populous came out 30 years ago this month. So June 5th, 1998, Populous came out on PC at least. It also then eventually came out to Genesis and Super Nintendo, and the Genesis port was actually not so bad. The Super Nintendo one, yeah. But it's out on it's on Good Old Games. It's also on EA Origin. So I will probably pick this up, although over the course of this episode, as I've been digging around, there's also Rise of Nations on the Xbox Game Pass for PC. So that may take my precedent as well. So a couple different history ones here.
I guess Cleese is selecting Total War 3 Kingdoms, which I believe just came out. Yeah, in May, May 23rd. So I imagine, and that's a PC game. Imagine he'll be playing that. I was looking at my backlog and trying to think of something I had that would fit this category. And right now I have penciled in Assassin's Creed. That kind of goes maybe. But I might try to find another strategy game or something. I have Civ 5, I have Age of Empires 2, I have Total War Rome 2, or just Total War Rome somewhere
Yeah,
buried.
you've got some options there then.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But
sorry, I bugged out there for a second. Which Assassin's Creed were you going to play? Thinking of playing?
I don't even know yet. I
Oh,
have
okay.
there's been a bunch that Ubisoft every now and then, like if you watch, Ubisoft will put stuff for free if you claim it. So I've got like 2 or 3 Assassin's Creed games that I just picked up. So whatever, we'll see what tickles my fancy over the next couple of weeks. But all my games are like fantasy and sci-fi. So, but anyway, good. I like it's not really a genre, it's more like a theme. So that'll be nice. All right, I think that'll do it for us tonight. Next episode 100, the extravaganza show. Except it's just going to be like a regular news show, and we'll see how much news we have now that we're in the doldrums after E3. Although I'm hoping that there's some more PC hardware talk now that Osiris Prime has joined us, has been assimilated, and thanks to Microsoft Xbox in a way, so to speak. All right. So for Osiris Prime, DBQ Hams, I am SwissGuard. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a good night. Enjoy your games.